Mic check. Check.
All right, mic check. Hopefully my mic is working. Hopefully we're also getting audio from the game. Hopefully it's not as loud for you guys as it is for me. I might have to turn that down a little bit, just a scotch. Because I can't hear myself think when it's that loud. Let me hop out and turn the audio down a bit. Sounds, master, turn you down a bit. Engine down a little bit. Crashes, wind, and car. So for anybody who is watching, we are testing out the Csl Dd. Hopefully you can see, actually have one more view that I can turn on. Where are you at? Right here. So we'll have plenty of views for you guys to be able to see the gear. Hopefully you can see the pedals a little bit in the bottom left. But overall, I've used this for maybe, I don't know, an hour and a half-ish of, just initial testing, getting drivers set up, getting things like all the drivers updated and the firmware updated, figuring out the best settings for iRacing, and I've just kind of got those tuned in. So I'm going to be doing some testing, hopefully actually jumping into some races, probably just some Mazda races. I usually can hop into those pretty easily without doing too much practice because I know most of the tracks, and just at the very least tune around a little bit. So to go over things, let me switch something out in OBS. So what I've done so far is updated all of the drivers. So we were on PC driver 429, and I believe we are in CSW compatibility mode. If you don't know, you can put this into either regular PC mode, Xbox mode, or compatibility mode. They recommend compatibility mode for most games right now so that you can get stuff like enhanced features like LCDs working. I'm using the McLaren GT3, the Csl Dd, and the Csl Pedals, so you can see they all show up here in the settings, and everything is working. I've got perfect wheel rotation. The force feedback is working. Currently I have the 5 Newton meter power brick in. You can see this is the big chunky boost kit, and we don't have it plugged in right now. We just have the 5 Newton meter plugged in. And the first thing I noticed was that let me make sure I have chat up so that I can see if you guys are saying anything. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Open in browser. So yeah, if you guys can hear me and the audio sounds good, if anybody can chime in on chat, I would appreciate it. But yeah, so I got all of the Csl Dd recommended settings. If you aren't familiar, you can just search for settings in Google. I just literally search for Fanatec iRacing settings. The first hit will be Fanatec recommended settings, and you can scroll down to your specific wheelbase. Oops. Which of course we have the Csl Dd, and it will give you a number of recommended settings. So these are the settings for the actual tuning menu, which I have replicated. So we got 1080, 100, peak for the force feedback scaling, NDP is 15%, NFR is off, NIN is off, INT is set to 6, and FEI is set to 100. So that's our recommended settings. And then in game, you can see you set the wheel force to 5 Newton meters or 8 Newton meters, depending on what you have. And then you set the strength to a figure. So they recommend 8.5. I set it to that. And one big thing to note in iRacing in particular is that's the force feedback strength can differ per car. So they recommend that 8.5. I put it on that and it was super weak. In fact, I'll just turn it right back down to that and then hop in the car. But what I ended up doing was using the auto calibration. So you saw I had it set to 5 Newton meters, but what I can do is run a few laps, and iRacing will automatically look at the force feedback. You can see it over here on the left as well, and it'll kind of tell you what a recommended one is. So it looks at, I guess, how much force it's putting out, and then based on that, in order to make sure you're not clipping, it will like let you up the strength. And once I up the strength, I noticed I enjoyed the feeling a whole lot better. So let me switch OBS back over to window capture, and hopefully you guys can still see that. And we'll do a little bit of testing. So this is with their recommended force feedback setting, and it's just way too weak for me. I mean, granted, this is the 5 Newton meter PSU, but oops, don't know which way the track goes. But yeah, you just don't get a lot of constant spring force. The peak force coming out of the wheel doesn't feel nearly enough, and I think that's just because of this specific car. Like that 8.5 might be good for some specific cars, but I think for the Mazda, which I'm in right now, like I'm just barely feeling those curves and stuff like that. So what you can do is just race around the track a little bit, and then as you go around the track and you do, you know, your typical kind of laps, it's going to be looking at how much it's outputting and hopefully not clipping, and then it will actually give you a recommended force feedback strength. So in a second, what we'll do is hit that auto button, and it's going to give us a recommendation probably in the 20s somewhere is what I've been finding for this particular car. So this is something you're going to want to do basically per car in iRacing. And in iRacing, of course, you can set up settings per car in order to be able to get that dialed in. So I know a lot of people were saying that they weren't really impressed with the strength of the wheel with 5 Newton meters out of the box. You know, it's double the strength of a of an entry-level wheel like the G29, G920, G923, but it might not feel like that immediately, like out of the box. So if you're in iRacing in particular, make sure you do this auto test, and in the next straight, I'll go ahead and hit auto, and it'll see what the recommended setting is. So, I mean, I can feel the wheel, but it just feels very light. Like, I can make the car do stuff that you wouldn't be able to make it do in real life because you'd actually be getting... So let me hit auto right now, and you can see it recommended the force feedback strength of 24.3, and immediately I can start to actually feel the car. So, like, right now I'm getting a nice spring force. When the car is moving, I can feel the momentum of the car, how much grip it has. When I go through compressions, you can feel the car grip up a lot, and it feels a whole lot better. So I wonder if that's what some people are noting with, you know, not being impressed initially with the strength of the wheel. But I don't think the torque of the wheel is the most important part. A direct drive wheel, it gives you a lot of detail, and driving down the road right now, I'm feeling every bump in the road. And I think Will from Boosted Media did a really good video explaining kind of how force feedback works, where you have constant spring force and you've got spring kind of peak spring forces, and you basically need to be able to blend those together. So you know, the wheel's never gonna, you don't want the wheel putting out 100% force feedback while you're kind of like going through a turn, because then it has no resolution to be able to give you any kind of like bumps in the road. Fanatec does have a little bit of technology which helps with that, like a force reduction, which makes it so that, you know, it's able to kind of like reduce the constant force a little bit to be able to still give you some peak forces. But yeah, that's what I've found so far, is that, yeah, the 5 Newton meter isn't extremely impressive in terms of pure torque, even though it's double what, you know, I've used on the Logitech wheels, and it's a fair bit more than the P300, but tuning the force feedback helps a whole lot. So definitely recommend do that. I don't know why I just shifted up there. For the extra rotation, of course, right? So we're doing 48. No idea how fast that is. And I'm not sure if there's anybody in chat. So you'll also notice I'm on a different PC. I just built this PC. It's got an 11700K. And currently it's got a 2070 in it. And we're running triples for the first time. Well, that was slow. But I didn't have everything set up to stream on this PC, so I had to do a whole lot of that like this evening. So hopefully you can hear everything. And what time did we get here? A 47.8. Still probably not very good. But I will say, even with 5 Newton meters, the detail you get from the Csl Dd is amazing. The curves, the road effects, all of that. I can feel it coming through the wheel, and it feels great. Even though I'm not, you know, like super overwhelmed with the peak force, that will come if you choose to get the 8 Newton meters. So for iRacing in particular, you know, if you are looking for, you know, a budget purchase at first and want to get the original one, don't be too scared. I've heard some people saying that it just feels weak, and compared to the 8 Newton meters, it doesn't feel as good, but it's a pretty damn good place to start. All right, let me check chat. Oh no, it logged me out. Log me back in. Oh, looks like we do have somebody. Jack, you there, Jack? I need to charge this somehow. So I am live on YouTube and Twitch right now. I've been using Restream.io just to see, you know, where people want to watch. You know what we'll do? Let's see if the Race Labs Twitch chat actually works. Chat. Streaming setting page. Streaming. Oh, why did you open this in? Dang it. So once I get chat brought up, we'll actually maybe hop in and do some practice. And then hopefully hop in and do a race. I got two-factor offs set up. It takes forever. Sorry for the rough start here. But if you are here, feel free to ping in the chat with any questions you might have. I haven't talked about the pedals yet. I do like them overall. You can see I have them on a custom-made pedal deck I built because I'm on carpet and it's hard to make them not slide around. I don't have the load cell upgrade yet. I'll hopefully be either buying that or maybe Fanatec will be nice enough to send it over after I finally get my video out. So we had a new PC build. I was sick. I actually had, you know, a little bit of the itis or the man flu. And then I got my vaccine, which was very rough. All right, I think I got this finally set up. Streaming is a hassle, you guys. It's hard. Let's see, I need to go into my layouts and enter the layout and add a Twitch chat. All right, so let me see if this is actually working. Hey, H-Jack, what's up? Can you guys hear me fine? Is the audio working? So that's not gonna work. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna do a couple more laps. In regards to the pedals, I like the overall feel. I like the construction. I think they're a little bit less premium than the CSL Elites, which I'm using on my main rig. But they still feel pretty good. I do really want the load cell brake. I think anyone who's getting serious enough to spend a decent amount of money on a wheel like the Csl Dd, you should be looking to also upgrade your pedals. You'll probably get more in terms of consistency, to be honest, out of upgrading your pedals than you will with the wheelbase. The wheel just is like immersion, being able to feel the bumps in the roads, a lot of small quality of life stuff, but pedals are what like really made me feel like I got faster. I'm not fast by any means, but Let's see what the auto says now. Might dial it back a little bit. Yeah. Oops, took that terrible. But yeah, once I got the everything dialed in for the MX-5, the force feedback came a lot more to life. Oof, overcooked that. I do really like this McLaren GT3 Volume 2. It's not the best wheel for the wheel rim for the MX-5, but it's light, which is really good for especially the 5 Newton meter version. I'm just not braking enough there. iRacing grass. Yeah, the GT3 is a really good wheel for the wheelbase because it's light. Some of the bigger round wheels, like the BMW GT2, I believe it's fairly heavy, so that might not be the best wheel, even though it's rounds. I did also buy a universal hub, so I can possibly do some DIY type builds with this and see how they perform. So technically I can throw any wheel on here. I think a 47.4 is probably about the fastest I'm gonna get. Curbs feel really good. I can just tell what the car's doing in terms of traction and grip. With the more beginner entry-level wheels, what I've noticed is that they have a hard time getting traction across to you. They tend to go very light when you lose traction, which this does too. It gets lighter, but it also, on the entry-level wheels, it doesn't give you very much detail, so it's hard for you to tell how much grip you have when it goes lighter. It's just kind of like just light, if you know what I mean. With this, it goes lighter, but you're still getting like the road effects, and you can feel a little bit of the tire slip to kind of understand and help rein it back in. And when you have that, what I've noticed is it feels more like the pedals and the wheel are connected. When I can feel that tire slip, I automatically kind of make adjustments with my foot. So, you know, either in braking or acceleration, once you feel the grip go, you can do something, and it's kind of like automatic. Your body kind of already knows what to do. Hopefully the stream is still going pretty strong. All right, I think I'm gonna hop into a practice session of 47.212. My optimal is a 46.9. I have no idea where that is. I have a hard time staying inside there. I think that's why I'm losing quite a bit of time. I'm struggling a little bit with braking in terms of the threshold braking you need for iRacing and trail braking, because the brake is just so light compared to what I'm used to. So this is the stock brake, and I do have the clutch pedal, which I like for cars like the Mazda. But on the CSL Elite, I have basically, I'm not getting the car slowed down. CSL Elite, I have basically the hardest brake setup, so switching back to this is a bit of a challenge, because when you don't have a stiffer load cell pedal, you're basically using your foot position, you know, how much angle you're putting into the pedal to figure out how much braking you're doing, and I just don't have that like built in anymore because I'm so used to having a load cell pedal. So I'm not getting any faster, I'm getting much slower. So let's hop out. Oh, hopefully I can bring up the chat. So again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Sorry, I'm not the most responsive. If you didn't hear before, I've just gotten this set up on this PC, and it's the first time I'm streaming from this PC. But hopefully it'll get better. The reason I'm on this PC is because I want to test it initially at a desk, because I feel like a lot of people getting this will probably not have a rig, so it will be beneficial to test things at a desk and be able to give people an impression. If you're wondering if it's better than any of the entry-level wheels, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and that's going to be both for the 5 Newton meter and the 8 Newton meter. The 8 Newton meter I think is better. If you can get it, feel free to, but if you can't, I think it's perfectly acceptable to get the 5 Newton meter and then possibly upgrade if you want to later. So I haven't even looked at what the rest of the stuff is at. Advanced Mazda at Hockenheim I don't have. Formula V at Alton Park. Let me do a little bit of testing in the Formula V. Do any of you guys do iRacing? Anybody in chat? Is that your kind of go-to sim, or are you playing other stuff? What other sims would you like me to try this out in? My two go-to are iRacing and Assetto Corsa Competizione. I do have regular Assetto Corsa. I have F1 2020. I haven't bought F1 2021 yet, but I can if people really want me to give some impressions for that. So we're in a different car now. I've never raced this car at this track, so let's see how we get around. I don't even know what layout this is, to be honest. Oof. And there you go, first spin of the day. All right, so it's the full layout. Hopefully I can get around the chat without crashing. Oh, this is not the layout I expected whatsoever. I've never done this layout before. So it's still kind of like a cut off. That might be flat. Or a lift. Not used to shifting in this thing. I mean, third gear is like 80% of most tracks in the Formula V. This is the first time I'm racing with triples. It's a bit different. I usually race with the ultra wide on my rig. I'm still not used to how you have to clutch in this thing. So let's see what the auto says. 24, so about the same. There's so much lower down in this car. I just raced this track in the Mazda last week. So we have to go right here, and I don't know where the braking marker is. But it's like a... here it is. So like maybe try around here. Nope. I shifted into neutral. New track, new car. We're bound to crash. Hey, what's up, Fev? You mostly race ACC but dabble in a little bit of iRacing. What's with the pedal flicker? Where are you seeing pedal flicker? I hadn't noticed it. My view is way too far forward, but I don't normally race at this setup. I normally race at a rig behind me. I don't know if you can see it in any of the views. Oh, the pedal flicker is from the overlay is wonky, and I don't know why. Sorry about that. This is the first time I'm streaming from this setup, so I'm using Race Labs to show the pedal stuff, and it's just really freaking out. Yeah, the pedal overlay is, I don't know why it's bugging out like that. Let me try turning it off and on again in Race Labs. Nope, that didn't help. That's really strange. Overlays. Input telemetry. Streaming info. That's so weird. I've never had to do that before. Thanks for pointing it out. Is it crazy distracting? Because if it is, I can just turn it off. Oh, it's not freaking out as much anymore. Request new car because I crashed. And let's see if you can figure out how to actually make it around this corner. Nope, it's still flickering. Well, the pedals aren't doing that. It's not Fanatec's fault. Fanatec. So we go over this crest, start braking here. I was probably way too early, but it is a bit of a... Well, it's quite the hairpin. See if you can just lift to make it through here. Yep. Not sure if it's gonna be flat, but it can definitely get through it with a lift. Not gonna get into 5th gear. Ah, the clutching with this car, so slow down way too much. And she goes. Stay off the wall. Yeah, I can't just use the iRacing one. It's on here. Let me see. Okay. I actually like it for my own purposes, having the trace. Because it helps me like keep an eye on my trail braking a bit. So as you can see from the iRacing one, it's the pedals aren't flickering at all. It's for whatever reason Race Labs is being butts. I could just turn on auto blip, I suppose. Oh. You would update the visuals and audios. They did slightly update the audio engine. There's 2 audio engines now that you can choose from. One is supposed to be a little bit more surround. And the visuals, yeah, I don't think they look as good as ACC, or definitely not as good as something like Automobilista, but I think they're going for a little bit more of a hardcore sim, so it's kind of like they've got to sacrifice somewhere, I guess. The best part of iRacing for me is being able to hop on at any time and hop into a race if you want. Get that a little bit too conservative. So let's see what the auto says now. 21.3. So Fanatec recommended like I'm not used to looking over to the right to find the apex. That's kind of funny. Man, I gotta figure out a way to get chat overlaid on here. Nope, not flat. Or I need to turn in sooner. I don't have to brake as hard here. I don't need to brake much at all. Ugh. I'm gonna do like one more lap. We missed the Mazda sign up at 11, unfortunately. But yeah, 5 Newton meter. Oof. Don't get in the wall. 5 Newton meter power supply isn't terrible. I've kind of felt like other people have bashed it a little bit, but I think it's enjoyable. I definitely take a 5 Newton meter over, you know, a G29. It's like a double apex. Never done this layout before. See what you guys were saying. Oof. I think that's possible flat. Any of you guys done this combo? I mean, this is almost possible flat. Jeez. I'm so used to doing this track in other cars where you have to slow down quite a bit at that corner, that double right. Nope. That was faster. Caught that slide. Ah, that curve feels really good coming through the wheel. Rick. I'm really not used to looking over to a third monitor. They're also way too far away. Yeah, if you try to put too much lock while braking, the tail does like to come out a lot. Slight lifts. A little bit better. And what is this? Just a big lift? Yeah, I needed to lift more. So much time gone. That might be a lift and also a little bit of brake feathering. A little bit faster. What are we at? A 139 is our optimal. We just did a 140. Oof. So that was just a lift. Okay, starting to feel it a lot better now. When the tail starts to go out. So if you missed it, this isn't my normal racing setup. I normally race on an ultra wide with a full SimLabs rig, but I wanted to do a lot of testing of the Csl Dd at a desk with the desk clamp, because I feel like a fair amount of people won't have a full rig or even a wheel stand, you know, because there's going to be a lot of people looking to either make this their first wheel or upgrade from a lower entry level wheel that they've probably been using at a desk. So that didn't feel particularly fast, but understeer so much. That corner just drops away if you don't stay far enough inside. So like right here, I'm getting a good amount of feedback in terms of like the weight of the car. You know, just going down a straight and jinking. How it's loaded up. I'm also getting road effects and bumps as I go over them. The bumps are actually like predicted it and overreacted. The bumps are actually kind of important. Sometimes I've noticed, like, especially with a weaker wheel, I'm not getting kind of road bumps and stuff like that. You know, like you can see the undulations in the road on this white line. And sometimes, you know, you're braking and you're just like not getting down to where you need to be, and the car is getting unsettled. What is wrong with you, transmission? The car is getting unsettled, and it's because there's a giant bump in the road, and you might not see it visually in the road, and you might not feel it on a lower end wheel. But you know, like if you start hitting it and you feel it, you may be able to tell, okay, I need to drive around this or slightly modify my line. I do really want to get a round wheel, especially for racing the Mazdas. Still can't get around that corner well. Might have to look up a track guide. I'm not the fastest. I don't know how to hop into every car and just immediately do well in it. Ah, the track limits are harsh there. So I think what I'm gonna do after this is get in the Ferrari, which is the other car I'm the most familiar with. Try it with yeah, not happening flat. Try it with the 5 Newton meters, and then switch over to the 8 Newton meter and adjust the settings accordingly. I don't need to downshift there or slow down nearly as much. That was faster. So I think the key here with this car is when you're downshifting and upshifting is to hit the shift and then quickly clutch, maybe. That was much faster, just kind of coasting through it a little bit, lifting. And here, like 50% brakes. Let the downshift rotate the car a little bit. Still wasn't that fast. Lost time. If anybody's a specialist in this car, can give me some tips. Oh! Almost 3-wheeled it around the corner. Is the wheel coming towards me with the mounts? ACC is getting what update? Like a DLSS update, I think. The wheel's mounted pretty solid. Like if I move the wheel, the desk is moving. Maybe it slid a little bit. Oops. I switched it into Xbox mode and it freaked out. Sorry about that. I'll definitely do something after I'll definitely be trying the new ACC update. Yeah, the desk is physically moving. But I mean, that happens with my G29. Happens with pretty much every wheel. So I did get the build finished remix, if you can see it on the one of the cams. I was just tired that night and that felt faster. My back was hurting, so. Oh, it's getting FSR and DLSS. Well, that's good. I wonder if the FSR will help on their console version at all. It's running nice. This cooler's really, really good. No CPU. I haven't overclocked anything, but no CPU temperature issues. I've been running it like, I don't know, 70 under load. I think my biggest issue right now is with the pedals, to be honest. I'm just not used to this light of a pedal. I'm gonna have to look up how to take that corner. It just doesn't feel good to me at all. 2 laps of fuel left. Yeah, a little bit of a lift and it seems to get around. Formula V is really fun though. If you get into iRacing, definitely try it out. It's a nice like introduction to open wheelers. The racing can be a little bit bashy because people don't really know what they're doing, but in the top split, it's actually pretty good. I think I need to trail brake and get on the gas a little bit later. I don't know, should that be 3rd gear maybe? iRacing's been getting a lot of attention since Summit started streaming. That's pretty cool to see. Oof. As soon as I missed that shift, I knew it was gonna go around. All right, so let's pop out. And try out the Ferrari with the 5 Newton meter. Where is the Ferrari this week? The N1 Explorer. Gonna be probably doing a custom loop. That's awesome. Do you have a lot of supplies? Watkins Glen. Do I know that circuit? I know it, but probably not well enough, to be honest. Do you have like a lot of supplies for a custom loop, or you're gonna have to buy everything? That's a tough thing to get sponsored. Is oh, it's without the boot. Well, hopefully I can get it around this track. How's the mix with the music versus the engine noise? I need to get a 240 rad. Do you have a micro center near you? They've been carrying a lot more water cooling supplies, I've noticed. I don't know if the pricing is any good, but take a drink. Nice. Actually, I need to tell it to do custom controls. Speed limiter. Oh, the bumps on the road feel so good. Now this did have the chicane, right? The chicane. Ooh, I locked up. I think that's again because I can't threshold brake with such a light pedal. Oh. Yeah, it's harder to drive a harder car with such a light pedal for me. I'm so used to a heavy pedal. Oh, you're already gonna have a single rad. Is it gonna be a fill loop or the GPU be in the loop? But what I'm finding is that with these lighter pedals, I have to concentrate more on like how much I'm braking, whereas with a heavier load cell pedal, I can just feel it a lot easier. I don't know if that's making any sense. That's slow. I think that's supposed to be third as well. Ooh, that feels good. So right there, the back end slid out a little bit more because I got on the throttle a little bit too hard, and the wheel got a little bit lighter, but there was still like a feeling of grip, and that combined with the sounds of the tire squill or tire losing traction just like automatically triggered me to modulate the throttle and change my steering a little bit. So that's one thing I think a direct drive wheel gives you really, really well. You think that's so much different when the boot is not there. I'm flipping the throttle like a dummy. When I first started with this car on the G29, I would lose it so much going through any kind of high-speed corner, or even sometimes low-speed corners. And if the car started to slide mid-corner, I just couldn't tell why sometimes. T300 was maybe a little bit better, but still not like feeling great. So some of that is me learning how to drive GT3 cars, but some of that is, I think, a better wheel just helps you understand that. Nope. I think that's supposed to be a third gear corner. To remix this point, I think you can see that ideally you're going to have a heavier desk or table. If you are going to table mount it, you can see how much the whole setup, I missed my breaking point trying to talk, but you can see how much my whole setup is shaking. Yeah, you cut the course, gotta slow down. Let's say you cut the course. But it's not too bad. And when I switch over to the 8 Newton meter power supply, I don't think it's gonna be too bad. I used to have so much trouble with those 2 turns. Yeah. All right, so let's switch over to the 8 Newton meter PSU. Let me turn it off. Unplug the 5 Newton meter, which has this little skinny boy for a cable, and put in the 8 Newton meter cable, the boost kit. And run a few laps with it. And then maybe we'll do a Mazda race, an actual race. Hey, what's up, Buddha Drifts? How's it going? Oh, I'm not sure how long you've been watching. It's a little bit hard for me to read chat right now because I don't have everything set up perfect for this setup, but I'll try to answer any questions if you want to throw them in the chat. So you've got the 8 Newton meter power supply turned or plugged in, and now we'll turn it back on. And really, you don't change any of the you don't change any of the settings really in terms of the Fanatec panel. This all stays the same according to their settings. Basically, you just increase the Newton meters in iRacing, which we'll do now. We'll increase that to 8. And then we'll drive around a little bit, and I'll try to describe what the difference is. Oh, yeah. It's so interesting switching back and forth. Just immediately, the wheel feels so much more punchy. The constant force through the corners, and when the car is loaded up, just feels better. The curves are more punchy and more pronounced. There's more resolution there, and it's able to just kind of like oh man, So it's actually harder to muscle the car around. Like when the wheel is lighter, you can just turn the wheel and it just does it. Which a real car wouldn't do that. You can't just throw in 90 degrees of lock while going super fast, you know? The cambered corners feel really, really good. So let's see what the auto does. 11. Oh yeah, that's a whole lot stronger. I'm pretty terrible at walk-ins. But yeah, that feels, everything just is heavier and punchier and feels better with the 8 Newton meter. I don't know a better way to describe it than that. You're still getting kind of all the details, the bumps in the road. When the ABS, when you start to lock up, kind of like you feel that. It just feels way more pronounced and it's less subtle, easier to tell when you are going through a big corner. Like that curb just felt amazing. If you see my hands kind of shaking, that's the wheel doing that. I gotta figure out how to take that chicane better. And that kind of carousel-y turn is not very good either. Put natural friction on? Okay, I'll try that in a bit. So I will say it feels, I feel more confident on the 8 Newton meter going to some of the corners because you can feel the grip even better. So it just inspires a little bit more confidence that I don't have to try to read what the car is doing. It kind of just comes to your hands a little bit easier. Let's see what this lap time is going to be, and then we'll play with the settings a little bit. I don't think I need to brake that much through this corner. It's kind of the only way I know how to make it. That was slower. So 111.7. Unlock my phone, please. Put natural friction on. So that's in the Fanatec settings, I'm guessing. Fanatec settings. Natural friction off. What percentage would you recommend, Buddha? Well, I'll try like 50 and see what that feels like. Oh, that's not an off track. Okay. 65. I'll try that. So I assume you drift, Buddha. What wheel setup do you currently have? I feel like I can feel it more in the high-speed corners. You have a G920? That's what I started out with. Ooh. You need to brake a little bit there, Brian. What's your kind of game or sim of choice for drifting? Nope, not gonna mix that. Yeah, the reason I'm going with the default settings at first is just because it's kind of a baseline, you know. I do plan on trying to adjust them. But I just kind of wanted to, like, because that's what most people are going to start with, right? The recommended settings. You like Assetto Corsa? I know there's a lot of mods and content. Oh, that felt good when it's not fast, but it feels good when you let the back end slide out a little bit. You feel it through the wheel. You hear it. Don't want the power too early. And it's terrible at that turn. That's what happens when you try to read chat. What is some Assetto Corsa content that I need to try out? I played ACC a lot, but I haven't played much AC. I had it installed on my old computer. Tried some of the base content, but we never really got into the mods and stuff. I think people do like canyon cruises in Assetto Corsa, which looks really cool. There's some mods for like having real traffic, which is like a nice kind of driving game-ish type element to have. You know, it's something typically you get to do in a driving game, but most other sims don't seem to have it. But yeah, the 8 Newton meter feels quite good. I mean, if you have the extra money and are looking at it, I definitely recommend it. That's not the line. I think this is better than the CSL Elite, which I have back behind me, and I tried out for a little bit. I definitely choose this over the CSL Elite. Some people say they think it's a side grade. Ooh, that feels so good. I need to stop doing it, but it feels good. Oh, I missed the mouse to sign up. I wanted to do a race. I need to tell you guys to remind me next time. Too far. Yeah, I think my main problem now, like, this wheel feels great. I can tell what I'm doing. I can tell how the car is loaded up. I can tell when I lose traction. I can feel the bumps in the road. I just am not used to using a pedal this soft. So I need to check out the load cell upgrade kit. Too much braking. Almost perfect. Or almost better. I do like the rocker shifters on this guy. You can kind of shift one-handed if you need to. Let me hop back in here and see what you guys said. Canyon cruises are real fun. Okay, you have some videos up. I'll check those out, Buddha. You order the Csl Dd V3 pedals. That's the way to go. If you can afford the V3 pedals. I'm using a metal like folding chair right now. I have like a nice, obviously I have the full rig behind me. I'm not sure if you can see that on any of the cameras. Maybe the face cam. So I've got like a full-on rig behind me that has the NRG seat, but when I'm driving at my desk, I just use a really crappy folding chair, unfortunately. But I have it like a nice desk chair behind me, but it slides too much, you know, like. Pedal overlay is working now. I don't know why it was like freaking out before. That's really weird. Let's see what some of the times people are getting in some of these series I want to race this season or this week. No results. Go back. Fastest lap time is a 1:09, so I'm like 2 seconds off of top split. More than 2 seconds off of top split. Average lap time, well, a couple of these guys are in the 1:11s. For the cockpit, like, I don't know if you can see how much my desk is shaking right now. But I have essentially a sit-stand desk, so you don't get any of that with the cockpit. You do technically get a little bit better force feedback when you have the wheel connected to something perfectly solid that doesn't move. Because like some of the force feedback in the vibro tactile, whatever you want to call it, is getting like driven into my desk. Do you know what I mean? So having a cockpit helps with that. I have a wheel stand that I built to put these pedals on, and you can see they don't slide at all. However much pressure I put into them, and they don't tilt either. If you don't have a cockpit and you don't have a wheel stand like this, what will happen with a lot of pedals is they'll start to tilt up while you're driving, which obviously isn't great. Or they'll slide back. And then it's just a dedicated place to race, which is like the main reason I got a G29 and I immediately bought a cockpit. And I have a SimLab GT1 Evo. Because I got tired of having this, you know, like my G29 on my desk, and then when I want to go back and play Battlefield or something like that, I have to remove all this, put the G29 somewhere, put all the power bricks and the cables somewhere, game, and then, you know, when I come home from work and I want to just like get in 30 minutes of racing, I have to set all that stuff back up. So one of the main draws for me was having a dedicated space, and I'm lucky enough to have enough room. So this pedal deck is some aluminum extrusion. It's called 2020 extrusion. It's popular with like 3D printing in the maker community. And then, yeah, 2 pieces of MDF, one on the bottom, one on the top, and then I can adjust this angle if I want to, and that slides up and down. And then I also have these really super spiky carpet grippers that I 3D printed, so this thing like won't slide at all. These bite into the carpet, and then these legs in the back are to help it prevent it from tilting over. So especially if you want to use some load cell pedals on carpet are really difficult to kind of not have slide around. So I built this. I can do a video on it if you want. I recorded it. Yeah, let me know. So these guys are doing 109s flat. Almost everybody in this race, their fastest lap was a 109. Yeah, I'll definitely do that video. Yo, thanks for the sub, Drifts. I appreciate it. Chill is kind of what I go for. I'm not too excitable of a streamer or a content creator. I can get hyped sometimes when I like do well in a race or do really well when I'm playing a shooter, but for the most part, chill is an accurate description, I think. But yeah, Lolita, I recorded everything I did when I put this together. So, you know, since people are showing interest, I'll definitely look into putting together a video. So let's see what people were doing in the Formula V. They're doing 135s. What did I get? Do you guys remember? I felt like maybe I was close to that, maybe a 137. Well, they're getting 136s essentially. And then in the Mazda, people are getting a 46 flat. I got into the 46s. I think the fastest lap I did was a 46.8. So that's not too far off. Oh yeah, there's no one on Twitch. That's fine. So I do have like a browser chat open, but I can't see it when I have iRacing open. I don't have a Discord set up at the moment. At least not a public one. I have one that like I chill with my friends, but you know, I'd love to have a little bit of a community going here, so maybe I'll start one. It'll probably be like discord.gg/Sergeant Ballistic. And once I do that, I'll make an announcement on YouTube to let people know. Let's join a Wait, when does this race start? $12:30. I'm gonna join a practice session and just follow some guys around. Hey Nicholas, how's it going? Thanks for hopping in to the channel. If you have any specific questions about the Csl Dd or Csl pedals from Fanatec or Fanatec, let me know. I first tried out the 5 Newton meter, and then now we've got the 8 Newton meter boost kit in. Of course, the 8 Newton meter feels quite a bit better, but after I tuned the force feedback settings for the 5 Newton meter inside of iRacing, it felt a whole lot better. So Buddha, you said you pre-ordered V3s and a Club Sport shifter, but you can't use it until Christmas. Which CSL DD did you get? The boost kit or the regular one? Okay, sure you're just doing the 240 CPU loop. Yeah, I missed that. I want to do a custom water cooling loop eventually. I just need to like really honestly I need to save up for a modern GPU and just get into something that will actually get me one, like a drop or a raffle or something like that. Switch this over to window capture. What kind of entries? So 137 is what guys in here are doing. Why do I have to wait to practice? What's going on here? What do you mean AC or ACC? Why are my overlays also flipping out? I would like to practice. Can I do that, iRacing, please? Waiting on... Okay, finally. Ben Sheely, you just followed, I think. Thank you for following. I need to turn on per car settings for this guy as well. iRacing is struggling right now. Huh. Well, that's weird. So when I ordered my CSL pedals direct from Fanatec, that was at the height of COVID, I'd say, and it took me 2 weeks to get them. But you know, with the CSL DD, it's been like kind of crazy. There's like an international shipping crisis going on right now. Stuff is all over the place. I mainly like GT3 cars, so that's kind of why I typically kind of got stuck in on ACC personally. I know with Assetto Corsa you can do, like, the possibilities are endless basically. So what kind of setup are you on, Lolita? Were you on the G920? Oh yeah, that feels a lot better too. Let's this guy go ahead. Where's he at? Check my mirrors and the relative when I come out of the pits. Oh, those curbs. Everything just feels like kind of enhanced with 8 Newton meter. That's probably way too early to start. I hate the transmission in this thing, to be completely honest. It's like this weird pseudo sequential that you have to actually blip the throttle and clutch with. Yeah. I'd rather have an H pattern. Whoa. That thing likes to go around on you. I'm showing nobody in my relative, which is weird. Is there nobody else in here? So that feels so much better. I think I can stay in 4th for that. Off track. Okay, now I got people on my relatives. It was like I was in a different server instance for a second, for a while. Are you guys seeing the standings and relatives freak out? Like it was showing people and then now it's not. Is my internet going crap? I don't get it. It's showing people connecting, but it's not showing anybody else on track. As soon as you touch that grass, you're done. I do not know what's going on with that. Oof. I don't know what's going on with the game right now. My escape key also isn't working. It won't let me get out of the car. What in the world is going on? I don't have a button set for iRacing, why you do this? That's so weird. But big thanks to everybody who's joined the chat today. Huge thanks to everybody who's chatted as well. It's nice to be able to kind of talk with people while I do stuff. The whole purpose of this stream was to actually test the wheel out and do a lot of laps in it. I've only done like an hour worth of driving with it before this. Hop back into this practice session. So what video would each of you like to see from me next? I've of course got all this Fanatec stuff. I also have a desktop CNC from SaneSmart that I'm going to be doing some content on. And I have a laser cutter that I've built and done some tested in, and I'm trying to get that video done. So it's probably going to be the Fanatec stuff first, at least a video on the Csl Dd, unboxing, first impressions, and stuff like that. Then probably the laser cutter, and then the desktop CNC. I know Lolita wants to see a video on the pedal stand, the pedal deck that I built. I'm pretty, you know, I like to listen to what people want. So if you guys want to see something in particular, let me know. Oh, so this cuts off the typical hairpin and chicane, and it just kind of cuts it short there. That makes sense. I've never done this layout before. Island Historic. They must only really use it for the V. Why is that overlay freaking out like that? It's so weird. Boom, 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 boom. Waiting tech. Go to options. Enter exit car, shift R. And I thought go back to pit was escape. But escape wasn't working just like a hot second ago. But shift R should work for... And why is it taking so long for me to be able to just get into my damn car? Oh, my latency is terrible right now. Is that what L means? Why is that? All right, Remix, have a good night. Thanks for hopping in, chat. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Happy holidays in general. 'Tis the season. I think my ping is just terrible to the iRacing servers right now. And I don't know why. I've never had a problem streaming and doing iRacing before. I guess it's a good thing I didn't try any races, because I wouldn't have been able to. Do much of anything. Well, on that note, I think it might be a good time to call it, since my internet seems to be going butts. The stream seems to be fine. That's really, really strange. I'm gonna have to sort that out, because I'd like to stream some racing. But thank you guys for tuning in. You know, if you have any specific questions about the Csl Dd, I know somebody mentioned they have one coming, which is great, around Christmas time. Those V3 pedals are really, really awesome from what I've heard. Maybe pick up the brake performance kit as well. But if you have any questions, hit me up on any of my videos. You can also hit me up on Twitter. I have links to my Twitter or Instagram. I like to try to answer people's questions, and my videos are designed specifically to help people know as much about a product as possible. So I'll have a very in-depth video coming out on the Csl Dd, shortly followed up by on the pedals, and eventually probably on this guy as well. So if you have any questions, you want to know anything specific, please let me know. But thanks again for tuning in. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.